Bless up, rise up, and time to stand up. Stand up for the truth, peoples. This is a call in which that we have to go about allowing ourselves to go about seeing what's in front of us and stop being disillusioned and telling ourselves so many things in a way that brings comfort to ourselves. Like I tell everybody, if you're goofing up, you're messing up, or you just committed something that was so heinous, acknowledge it. That's the only way to go about moving past it. But if you come up with the notion that I'm gonna formulate an excuse to go about justifying what took place, you have to come to know this. You cannot grow as a person unless you go about acknowledging where you're at in life. And the moment we go about acknowledging where we're at, then that growth and that movement starts to take place in our lives. It's not because of somebody else why things went wrong. It's not because of situations or circumstances. That has a part to play in it. But the main factor in all things is you. And once you go about taking that ownership of how things went down, then we could go about beginning to make progress. You see, we have to allow ourselves to be fluid and not be rigid. We must come from a level of flexibility and allowing ourselves to move and sway. The notion of water, it changes state in so many different forms or fashion that it's one thing that goes about adjusting to what's being required in that state. Now, the reason I said water is because some of us want to be hard as rocks. But rocks crumble under pressure. Some of us want to be light as air. And we get lost in our head and we float away into this distant reality, not staying in touch with what's going on. So now, when we come to understand that we must be grounded in our ways as far as moving forth and allowing that truth that's in front of us. Because when we come to see that it's because of the way how we go about thinking and perceiving things, then we could go about understanding that if our understanding is valid or not. Because I'm going to tell you, like I tell everybody think they that person until that situation goes about meeting them. And when that situation comes forth and meeting them, one or two things is going to happen. It's either they're going to falter or they're going to rise to the occasion. And that's where it goes in to a choice that we must conscientiously go about making. We must come to know where we stand in life. Because too many of us do not go about understanding our positions in life. And too many times, we're trying to play positions that we're not even qualified for. Everybody wants to be a leader, but don't have no sense of direction. If the captain of the ship is drunk, don't you think that boat's going to run aground? But if you don't have, if you haven't gone about establishing what's going on in your life or what's going on around you, you too will be found to be a victim of circumstances. And too many times, because we don't know the truth, we'll get all the warning signs that, hey, this is not a place that you want to be. It's best that you move. But because we think, we believe that we know better, we stay in a predicament or a situation or a relationship when it's causing more damage than good. But when the situation takes place where we become the benefactors of something that is not polite, being cussed out, being drugged through the mud, slandered, we feel victimized. But because we haven't come to understand that, man, that situation wasn't healthy. And despite what I wanted to see, I'm still feeling depleted. I'm still feeling deflated. I am feeling as if though, what did I do to go about deserving that? But the reason you got that was because your truth was not in alignment with the real truth. And the real truth of the matter is, we must do things in a way that will help us grow. Because on the road to progress comes along many bumps and bruises. But the reason we get the bumps and bruises is because we're going to have to learn the things that we don't know. And because we have become complacent as a society,